This is 100 days of budgie growth and development, a complete guide including all the challenges that come with it. In the aviary, the breeding hormones in budgies go crazy. They start digging holes in the walls and destroying the interior, so I had to place plastic panels on the walls. By observing their behavior, I noticed more pairs of budgies forming. I need to make more nest boxes to accommodate them. Nest boxes for budgies are simple. I used dimensions of 30 cm by 20 cm with a hole that is 6 cm in diameter and added a little perch. That's it for the nest box design. And yes, as always, I'm using organic cat litter, which is perfect for keeping the inside of the nest box clean from dirt and bird droppings. Early around 6 in the morning, Angel started defending all the nest boxes, claiming them as hers. A few days later, guess what happened in nest box 02? Pippi laid 3 eggs. In nest box 001, there's a female guarding the entrance hole. But what is she doing all the time in the nest box? Or at the entrance? Oh look, an egg! Angel laid 3 eggs. Pippi is having trouble keeping all the eggs in place because they are rolling around. I'll add more bedding to help stabilize them and make it easier for her to manage. Can you hear this? I thought the sound was from 01 nest, but actually it's from 02. This baby's parents are second most beautiful couple in my aviary, Pippi and Shrek. Pippi is feeding her on time. It's the 3rd day since my first baby budgie hatched in the aviary. And I'm so happy to see she is doing great so far. I still don't know if she will have any brothers or sisters, but by now the 2nd egg should have hatched. It was a beautiful, peaceful morning with nice scenes welcoming me. But that did not last. I saw Pippi outside the nest, which was unusual and unexpected. Then I noticed Bella trying to get inside Pippi's nest. You know what this means? Bella might be trying to take over Pippi's nest, which could lead to conflict or harm to the eggs or chick. I was truly hoping the baby budgie is alive and safe. But thank God, it was only bitten by Bella. I hope everything will be alright for the baby. This means breeding inside the aviary is over. Pippi and Shrek are now in my room, safe from any harm. She didn't go outside for over 14 hours, which had me worried. But we have a new baby hatched. The injured baby is doing fine as well. It's not recommended to change the position of the nest or the cage of a breeding pair, as I had to do. She is under stress, worrying about her babies, and she is disoriented. I did it to prevent any death inside. Let this be a lesson for us all. Purslane is a very nutritious weed that grows in many places, like my flower pot and all over the garden. You can even harvest its seeds for the next year. Ash purslane leaves contain more omega-3 fatty acids than any other green leafy plant. This is significant because omega-3 is beneficial for brain health, eye health, and heart health. In the background, you can hear chicks calling her mommy because their bellies or crop are empty, and she is inside finally. He spends his time close to his wife and their chicks, always watching over them. As an owner, it's important to provide fresh water daily to the breeding pair. This ensures they stay hydrated and healthy, especially during the demanding breeding period. Do you want to know how a 5-day-old baby budgie looks? Bald and featherless, but it's the most beautiful baby bird. Recovery from the biting injury has been amazing and quick, thanks to his mother Pippi for keeping them safe and well fed. Speaking of feeding, I always provide my budgies with a variety of seed mixes that even include pellets. With the addition of liquid vitamins, vegetables and fruits from my garden, I ensure they have a varied and complete diet that supports their overall health. It's been 6 days since the first egg hatched, and now we have a new addition, our third baby budgie. You can already notice a size difference between them. I'm still unsure if the other eggs are fertile, as I haven't wanted to disturb the female. The next day, I didn't expect to see another baby, which was quite a surprise. But having a small baby means that the parents will have to work even harder to keep all the chicks fed and warm. This also means the smaller chick might need extra attention to ensure it gets enough food and care, as the older chicks tend to be more dominant in the nest. My plan for today was to go to the pet store and get baby formula to support the youngest baby budgie, but I was already too late. To prepare myself in time, I'm going to check the rest of the eggs for fertility. This one seems to be developed, the second is definitely alive and will hatch, while the third is unfortunately infertile. It's Sunday, and this is the only pet store open today. I really need that food if I want the baby to survive. I couldn't find any baby bird feeding formula. But while I'm here, I'll pick up some millet, vitamins, and iodine. Iodine is crucial, just as it is for humans, for the health of birds. When I returned, the baby budgie had already hatched and I panicked. Now for plan B, I'll make my own backup feeding formula to get us through the next 24 hours until the other pet stores open and I can get the proper baby feeding formula. For this recipe, you'll need 1 boiled yolk and breadcrumbs, known as presla in Bosnian. These are small pieces of dried bread often used as a coating for fried foods or as a topping for casseroles. Make sure the breadcrumbs are free from sugar and salt. Now mix it with water. Some people suggest adding a few drops of honey, but this mixture will be enough for a 1-day-old baby budgie. The syringe will break down large chunks of food into tiny pieces for the baby budgie. As you can see, the female didn't feed the baby. If we don't hand feed, the baby's fate will be the same as the last one. Gently offering liquids in the beak is a good approach, especially if the baby is responding positively. Keep it slow and gentle to avoid overwhelming the chick. The crop is still empty. We need to fill it up for the night. It's 4 in the afternoon and it's time to check on the chicks. What a surprise! Another baby has hatched. Like the last two, this baby also hasn't been fed and its crop is empty. Like Bubbles, this one isn't opening its beak for the first time, waiting for its mother to do so and feed him. Bubbles is already used to the feeding routine, drinking the nutritious food mix easily. It's evening, 3 hours since the last hand feeding. I can't describe the pleasant feeling when they eat right away. I'm in constant fear, hoping everything will be alright. I realized that in the 2 minutes since feeding Bubbles, the food had cooled down for Clover. That might be why Clover wasn't as interested in eating. I've reached the perfect temperature and humidity inside the box. Thankfully, the 3 babies are being fed regularly by their mother and father. The oldest one is 11 days old and the unfertile egg can now be removed from the nest. It's day 4 since I started hand feeding the babies. Still small and fragile. And the babies that Pippi and Shrek are feeding are healthy and chubby. The oldest one is now 12 days old. Three hours later, very strange behavior. I was worried that this might not end well. He has always resisted eating from day 1. But this time, Clover is gone on his 3rd day. That's why I checked the temperature inside the food and realized the syringe was dropping it by 5 degrees Celsius. The syringe works better for larger babies, so I'm switching back to the spoon. It's day 7 since the budgie hatched. I'm sleepy and tired. It feels like at least 15 days have passed. I hope he'll gain weight soon. But for these little ones, 15 days have passed. Time flies by so quickly for them. It's day 8, 9 in the morning. And the little one still isn't gaining any weight or size. I feel frustrated, but I'm still hoping for the best. Everything is perfect. The conditions, feeding on time, the temperature inside the box, the humidity and the food temperature, yet there's no progress. And these chicks are already getting pin feathers. We can definitely assume they won't be green or yellow, that's for sure. Even though it's day 9 since hatching, Bubbles is still not out of the danger zone or free from health complications. I constantly worry about his life. He hasn't gained weight and his crop isn't empty, so he may have crop stasis. This is the procedure. Stop feeding temporarily and give acidified water with 1 to 2 drops of apple cider vinegar to help aid in crop emptying. The crop is finally empty. I'll feed him again with a more watery food mix. Now I'm going to pay close attention to how the crop empties over the next hour. It's funny, but I'm super happy to see him poop. Okay, now I'm freaking out. Why isn't he developing? Nothing is changing, but he has a huge appetite and his crop is working well. As I started thinking positively, the oldest budgie died from being overfed by his mother. I am devastated. The mother is overfeeding the rest of the chicks. Again. I'll let them rest separately to empty their crop before returning them to their mother. This chick is 13 days old. If she starts overfeeding again, I'll have to hand feed them. That's the only option to save their precious lives. It's day 14 for the oldest surviving baby budgie. They are now separated from my hand-fed chick. Maybe the sound of Bubbles or my night routine is triggering the female to feed at the same time I'm feeding Bubbles. I'll monitor their crops to prevent overfeeding. So far so good. Is it just me, or does it seem like his eyes are slowly developing? Maybe he'll open them and see the world for the first time soon. Or am I just imagining it because of my lack of sleep? Overfeeding happened again last night. The next step is to remove the male, Shrek, because he's been spending too much time inside the nest and is probably helping to feed the female or the chicks too. On day 12 since hatching, this is how a baby budgie should look. And here is Bubbles. I'm still hoping he'll grow into a colorful, beautiful bird. And he's not giving up either. After 6 hours, the female didn't feed the chick, but spent time inside the nest. Then I noticed bite wounds. Poor baby. There's no time to waste. I need to hand feed them too. Not only do I need to travel with 3 baby budgies that I'm hand feeding, but I'll also be away from home for the whole day. Luckily, it's only a 1-hour drive. I will hand feed them just before we go. It's day 15 since they hatched, and I can finally see growth and change, even though this chick is at least 8 days behind the normal growth stage. Look at him showing off now that his wounds have healed. And yes, Bubbles is coming on the trip too. I'll place a wet cloth inside the incubator during our 1-hour car trip to maintain the humidity. As soon as I arrived, I wanted to make sure they were hydrated by giving them a quick feed. I can't resist their little screams. All I need is hot water for the baby formula, and I'm good to go anywhere. And let's not forget about little Bubbles. And they always fall asleep right after eating. For the past 24 hours, everything was going well. The night feeding, the morning feeding, and then this morning at 9 o'clock, Bubbles' heart stopped. What a sad way to end this journey. He was a true fighter for the past 15 days. You will be remembered, Bubbles.
What's your name, Appelia?
This morning I have some help with feeding the babies. Mila is lending a hand. They get their meal every 2 hours when they ask, and they spend most of their time sleeping. The cat litter bedding is doing its job perfectly, keeping everything clean, but it needs to be changed. Preening before sleep is a must, just like adults do. Right when I had to feed the babies, we lost power. Luckily, I had this camping gas stove that I've kept for emergencies for the last 5 years. And it came in handy to boil water for the baby formula. Luckily, the power was restored just half an hour later. They were fed at midnight and again at 6 in the morning. It's nice to know they are gaining weight. They are aware of their wings and already practicing stretching them. And this is how they react when they hear a sneeze for the first time. Sorry, little ones. And a few moments later, they're sleeping and resting. This pretty much sums up what they do for 2 hours until it's time to eat again. They will have amazing coloring from their parents' genes. The next day, I was already running low on baby formula, so I picked up more, along with a budgie seed mix and millet. Hopefully, they will start eating solid foods during my vacation days. I keep them in a transparent container so they can feel more comfortable in their new environment. It's 6 in the morning and I'm feeding them right before we head out on a trip, more than a 3-hour drive to the Adriatic Sea.
I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn ain't that great.
Hand feeding these budgies each morning brings a sense of calm, even as the Adriatic Sea calls. There's something special about caring for them here.
I'm going on a trip and I don't plan to visit. I'm gonna stay there till I feel like I'm winning all. And this is just the beginning. I need a big change, help me feel like living. I need a big swing, home runs, I'm hitting it.
Dishes, food and hot water are a must when traveling for more than 2 hours, or even less. They can get thirsty too. They were super quiet during the drive, probably sleeping or just scared of the unfamiliar noises. And after 2 hours, we took a little break for a quick feeding. They were scared of the unfamiliar surroundings, but still ate all their food. Also, I had to clean all the dishes for the next feeding. Luckily, the water was still super hot. Finally, we've reached the Adriatic Sea. Another day passed successfully with all the challenges of caring for the baby chicks. Now, my family vacation in this peaceful seaside cove can finally begin. Budgies are now part of my family vacation, and seeing them every 2 hours means it's time to feed them. They didn't stop me from enjoying bathing and playing in the sea with my family. Well, it's already too small for them, but later today I'll head to the store to get a bigger space. I hope I can find something suitable. It's a nice feeling knowing they're doing fine, and I'm glad they're here with me. And this is the best I could get. It's round, but it has enough space, and they can't jump out and get lost at sea. They're already fully covered in feathers. It's funny and cute when feeding the budgies. As soon as they notice me or hear the sound of mixing food, they start chirping loudly and calling for me to feed them. At night, we experienced a heavy storm. It was quite scary for the budgies, but luckily it didn't last long. I think it's time to introduce Millet to the babies. At first you think they're scared and not interested at all. As curious as budgies are, and as much as they like to nibble on everything, they enjoyed eating millet the next day. But that doesn't mean I can stop feeding them. They're still on their usual feeding routine. It's been 6 days since I started my family vacation, and the budgies are already feeling a bit bored inside their new home. It was time to head back, and I was nervous about the hot day ahead. Ensuring the budgies stay hydrated through regular feeding is crucial, not just every 2 hours. We spent over 5 hours traveling back, with stops to eat and rest. I made sure the budgies were fed and hydrated throughout the trip. I'm super glad that my travel box worked perfectly to keep them safe and calm during the trip. One thing that crossed my mind was that the older one might fly away during feeding. Thankfully, he was a great bird and stayed put. Finally home! It's day 32 for the older one and day 30 for the younger. I need to get them a proper home. While it seems like a very stressful experience for the babies, they actually appear to be quite curious and playful. And yes, water and food are essential, so they can get used to solid foods as they prepare for the next stage, eating on their own. As you can see, they're already relaxed and exploring their new home, even taking their first sips of water. Good job! And taking a bath? That is so budgie. As you can see, they can eat millet and some seeds, but not enough yet. They still need to be fed with formula. The next day, they were even more eager to eat on their own. They are officially 4 weeks old now. And he can even fly now. He doesn't feel comfortable and secure enough to fly yet. But at least he is singing now. The next day, the older chick instinctively fed the younger one, mimicking the parent's behavior and attempting to care for its sibling. In the wild, budgies live in flocks where sharing food is common, and this nurturing role helps strengthen the bond between them. Finally, the older one doesn't like staying inside anymore. He wants to be free and loves spending time on my shoulder. Now I can't get any work done. I've become his playground, and while it seems like he's biting, it's just gentle nibbling that tickles. and I can officially say my little bird is flying. It's day 36 for the older one and day 34 for the younger. I just received a feeding spoon for baby birds. It's a bit late, but since my budgies are still on baby formula, I can't wait to try it. I wish I had this earlier. It's much easier than using a syringe. They've greatly improved their flight, even following me around the room and landing on my head or shoulder. They're now being fed baby formula only every 6 hours. My babies love playing with my budgies. Budgies are curious and social, so they can't live without us, always exploring. This shows how much hand feeding creates a bond between humans and birds. Complete trust. They become family. It's day 38 for the older one and 36 for the younger. From this point, the black beak of the baby budgie will start fading until they're about 6 weeks old. The forehead stripes will begin to fade between 3 to 4 months, around the time of their first molt. By then, the bars on the forehead will disappear, especially in normal mutations, leaving a clean, smooth forehead as they mature. It's day 41, and their flight is perfect now. This little home is too small for both of them, so it's time to introduce them to a much larger space suitable for a small flock of budgies. The next day, they were fed only 3 times, every 6 hours. And hey, just a heads up, never try to feed more than one budgie at a time. It gets messy. Even though they're eating independently, I like to give them a little extra, mostly because they ask, and I can't resist making them food. During the day, they love spending time playing with me, grooming on my finger. And like all budgies, they find wires irresistible. The more wires, the more fun. Budgies have a subtle, comforting scent that can be described as a clean, fresh, and slightly sweet aroma. While many say they don't have a noticeable smell, for those who spend time close to them, it's almost like a delicate mix of fresh feathers, sunshine, and a hint of natural, airy sweetness. It's a calming, gentle fragrance that evokes a sense of peace and well-being, adding to the joy of having these vibrant little birds around. And yeah, they can't fly with their feathers soaked. But after 30 minutes, they're perfectly clean and dry. Finally, it's the last day of hand feeding. At least with baby formula. I could have stopped earlier. But why? It was so enjoyable having them follow me around, asking for food and calling out to me. It was quite a journey, and these 40 days flew by so quickly. But now, what's next? There's still a lot of development ahead for these baby budgies. They're already eating vegetables and fruits, which all budgies love as treats. Even at a young age, you can start to notice differences between males and females. Females typically have white around their nostrils, while males have a uniform purple or pink color across the entire cere. These distinctions become more pronounced as the budgies grow, but they're helpful indicators even in younger birds. Females tend to be more territorial and bossy, and their bite is noticeably stronger. It's day 71 for the older and 69 for the younger. More than 2 months since they hatched. They've also lost their black baby beaks. The next phase is molting, where they'll grow their new shiny feathers. I can honestly say I can't live without them, and I'm pretty sure they can't live without me either. But I do have a few complaints about them. Most of the time, I can't get any work done when they're nearby. They nibble my fingers, my nose, and they even love to nibble on my mouse. They're so persistent. Sometimes I can't even type a message on my phone. At 2 months old, baby budgies are at the peak of their playfulness and curiosity, I think. But I love it. You really should enjoy this phase. Today marks day 103 for the older budgie and 101 for the younger. They are officially grown up with a fresh set of feathers and vibrant, intense coloring. The baby stripes on their foreheads and their black beaks are completely gone.